Hello again, welcome to today's video. For those who are new here, my name is Elenia and this is Soft Skill Atelier, where I teach you all the skills you need to bring your fashion ideas to life, from concept to completion. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to sew some pants. They will be based off that pattern I have traced on a previous video. If you also want to trace your own pattern, make sure you watch that video first and then come back to this one. The pants I've traced on that video are made out of an elastic fabric. The fabric I'm using today is a non-stretchy woven material. So I had to alter the pattern quite a bit to make it fit to my body without the elastic features. I also added some darts to make it more fit around my hip and waist. I won't show you the whole pattern alternation for today's pattern because that would already fill a whole video by itself. I will though make a video where I talk more about pattern alternation in general. What we're gonna focus today is obviously sewing some pants. These pants will have some features like a side zip and an understep with a buttonhole. I will also show you how to sew a dart and how to sew on a waistband. A small shout out to my friend's fashion label Steinrone, who also provided me with this week's shiny fabric, which is very mysterious on camera and is super photogenic. Thanks again for handing me over all your beautiful leftovers. So I have talked enough and I would say let's get started by looking at all the tools and materials we need for today's session. So first of all, we need some pins, fabric scissors, threads. I picked two different colors to create some of the stitches more visible. Zipper. I picked an invisible zipper. That's just a thinner zipper which is not so visible. Button about the size of 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters. My all-time favorite tool, the set square. The zipper foot for the sewing machine. Weights to keep the fabric in place, and fusible lining. So I quickly walk you through the things I altered on the original pattern. I first added the width I need because of my non-stretchy fabric. I sliced the pattern open in the middle and added the width there, so I won't lose the original outline shape of the pants. Maybe you remember the pants I traced on the video. They were 3/4 pants. So I also added some length because I definitely want them longer, like on my sketch. Next, I made the waist higher, and in the end I added the darts to the back and the front part. I also marked the place where my zipper will be and created the pattern for my zipper shield, that piece that is protecting your skin and your underwear from getting caught in the zipper. Now my pattern looks all Frankenstein's monster-like. But we know appearance is not everything, and what actually counts here is the final shape, and so far I think it will work just fine. So I will start preparing my fabric double layered. I press the middle fold into the fabric and give it an all-over press to have a wrinkle-less start. Back on the working table, I place my two leg pattern pieces onto the fabric so that the length of the legs are going in the direction of the grain line. I secure them with some weights and pins and then directly cut them out. Make sure you mark your darts. The easiest way is just to mark the ends of your dart leg and the dart end by making a little hole into your pattern and only mark it with a little dot. You can draw the whole dart lines after you have removed the pattern. You also cut the zipper shield piece in a double layered fabric. Look at all these shiny pieces. This fabric has quite a mind of its own and has next to its beautiful appearance a few difficult sides. The first obvious issue is that it frays quite easily because it's woven pretty loose. So we need to tame these edges by framing them with a zigzag stitch. The zigzag I use is very broad and the stitch length is pretty tight, so it creates a needless coverage of the edges. If you have an overlocker, you can also frame the edges with that. But I always want to show you the household machine options so everyone can sew along. Before you frame the zipper shield pieces, we need to apply some fusing on them. This is a preparation for the buttonhole we will add on the zipper shield. For the buttonhole, we need to cut into the fabric and the fusing will prevent the fraying. It also makes the buttonhole more resistant. The zipper shield only needs to be framed on the long sides. When everything is framed, change the thread color to a less visible one. I changed mine to black. First, we prepare the zipper shield by sewing the two pieces together on all sides except the one you have framed with the zigzag. Cut back the corners and then flip it inside out. Make sure the corners come all the way out. If the corners won't come out so easily, use something pointy like a pen or the corner of your set square to push the edges out properly. We want the zipper shield closing in the inside of the pants with a button. I picked the blue one matching the zigzag seam inside the pants. First, I measured the diameter of the button because that's how long our buttonhole needs to be. If you have an extra buttonhole foot, use that one. There's a buttonhole function on almost every sewing machine. It usually has 3 steps. On more automatic machines, you can also program size and width automatically. I like to sew all steps manually because you never know how the machine reacts differently on each fabric. As you can see, I manually change to the next step every time I reach the length the buttonhole needs to be. Then put the shield to the side for now. We will continue with sewing the darts. To make sure the 2 dart sides are lining up and laying on top of each other, I use pins. Fold the fabric in the middle of the dart and push the pin through both layers and make sure the pin hits the lines on each side on the same level. Sew them together with a straight stitch along the marked line. Always start on the open side and sew towards the inside and keep on sewing until the needle is not hitting any fabric anymore. Make sure to lock the fabric with a few backward stitches. Now you can see already how the pants are starting to become more and more 3-dimensional objects. Next, we sew in the zipper. I decided to have my side zip on the right side seam. Later, I noticed that the zippers on most of my pants are on the left side seam. So I recommend you to pick the side that is most comfortable for you. So we will pin the zipper on one side first. Make sure the outside fabric is facing upward and the zipper slide is facing towards the fabric. Before we sew the zipper in, we need to install the zipper foot. The zipper foot is only half width of a normal sewing foot. Therefore, it allows us to bring the sewing needle much closer to the zipper, to make the zipper somewhat disappear between the seams. While sewing in the zipper, make sure the stitches are on exactly 1 cm away from the edge of the fabric and as close as possible to the zipper. Do the same thing on the second side so that now the zipper is connecting the front and the back part of the right leg. Always make sure that you don't forget that everything is mirrored since you are working on the inside of the pants. Now I also pin together the rest of the legs, so that I have 2 tubes in the end. Make sure that you always have a front and a back part pinned together on the 2 side seams. These now will be sewn together with a straight stitch. Always make sure that the stitch is behind the zigzag so you don't see it from the outside. Now I will show you a trick on how to easily sew the 2 legs together. Flip one of the legs inside out and put the other one inside the inverted one. Line up the crotch lines and pin them together. Again, sew it together with a straight stitch. So what's missing now is a waistband to have a proper finishing. We need to create a separate pattern piece for that. We measure half of the circumference of the waist. Draw the length in a line on a long piece of paper. Mark the points where the side seam is and make sure you know which part is the front and the back. To make the waistband nicely shaped around my hip, I will round the band a bit. Depending on how much hip you have, increase or decrease the curve level. So more hip, more curve. I lifted the band on both sides 1.5 centimeters and connected that to the middle line of each section. After that, I draw a parallel line above with a 3 cm distance and added a seam allowance. Make sure all corners are in a 90-degree angle. After that, there is a tricky part. Since we don't have the zipper in the middle, we cannot just mirror the pattern so that the opening of the band is on the side. For that, we need to copy the pattern and cut the copied version in half. We attach the front part to the other front part and the back parts together. That pattern will now be cut out 3 times. Once the pants fabric, once a slightly thinner fabric. If you don't have anything else, cut it out twice with your outside fabric. And once with the fusing material. Fuse the fusing on the outside fabric. That makes the waistband more solid. Then pin the two fabrics and sew them together only on the upper side. When you're done, press the seam and then connect the outside part with the pants. Before we close the waistband by sewing the inside part to the pants as well, we need to attach the zipper shield. The shield will be sewn on the front zipper part, all the way up to the waistband. Then fold over the inside fabric and close the sides. And now sew over it. Now trim back the seam allowance on the sides and flip the band to the nice side. Fold the edge of the inside fabric up, press it, fix the fold in place with pins and then slowly close the waistband by top stitching the inside fabric on from the outside. The hemline needs a finishing too. I fold mine up by 3 cm. Give it a quick press and fix it with a top stitch as well. Last but not least, we cut open the buttonhole and sew in the button. And here we go, we're finished with the pants. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you could learn something from it. If you managed to make the pants off of my tutorial, I'm more than happy to see your results. Please tag me in it or send me a DM of your picture. If you like my videos, please let me know with a thumbs up and make sure that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos by subscribing to Soft Skill Atelier. You would make me very happy. I see you next time. Bye!